has been kind of a journey coming from different countries and different types of orchestras, different styles that I'm very lucky to have until now. To think first without the instrument, and then when you pick the instrument, the thinking part must be already kind of automatic. So you just focus on your air, you focus on your sound. The simple is always the best. I believe in that.
皆さんこんにちは、チューバサダーズです。はい、特別ゲスト、ミュンヘンフィルハーモニー首席チューバ奏者リカルド・カバリョソザンです。So difficult to pronounce.
Nobody knows.
特別ゲスト、ミュンヘンフィルハーモニー首席チューバ奏者リカルド・カバリョゾです。何を隠すと、僕と同い年で同時期チューリッヒのクラスメイトだったということで、こうして一緒に演奏動画を撮ったりお話しできる機会をいただくことができました。早速彼についていろいろ聞いていこうかなというふうに思います。まずはご自身のキャリアというところを視聴者に向けて改めて紹介していただけますでしょうか。
First of all, thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure to be interviewed by the Tubasadors from Japan. My career started with a different instrument that was not the tuba. I started playing music with a trumpet when I was 10 years old, and this was my first approach to music. And later on, me and the teachers who supported me decided to change my instrument from trumpet to tuba. So at the age of 14, I started playing tuba, and I studied firstly with Juan Carlos Diaz in my hometown in Portugal, Viana do Castelo, until I was 18. At 18, I started studying in the Superior School of Music in Porto, which is you can say the second biggest city in Portugal, where I studied with different teachers, starting with Christopher Lee from Canada, now the National Center Orchestra tuba player from Canada. Then shortly with Eduardo Nogueroles Bermudez, also a Spanish teacher from Valencia. And later on with Sergio Carolino, which was my main influence from Portugal. From my Portugal time of studies, I studied under Sergio many years, and he has been a great influence for me back then when I was doing my bachelor's. And later, when I was 22, I moved to Switzerland, and I was studying my postgraduate studies with Anne Ella Visser in Zurich, Switzerland, where I did a master's degree and a soloist diploma, and where actually we got to meet each other.
He's a great student.
Yes, it was a really great time. In the year of 2011, I went to the Academy of the Munich Philharmonic. Munich Philharmonic is the orchestra that I represent today, but I didn't start to play with the Munich Philharmonic until until it was 2017. Between 2012 and 2017, I started working with Nice Philharmonic, which I played for 2.5 years in France. So I had to learn, first of all, a new language, and also learn a new style of playing in the orchestra, because France is quite different from Germany and from Russia or from the United States. And that was a really nice city to live in, because Nice is famous for being a holiday touristical destination with beautiful landscapes and seaside coastlines, and also a great orchestra, which gave me my first experience as tuba player in the orchestra. Later on, the job in Zurich for the Zurich Opera was free, so I took that audition, and I got that job in 2015, 2016. So I moved from France back to Switzerland, where I studied, and then I was playing with the opera orchestra suddenly for another 2 years. Which was another type of experience, a city that I knew from my studies, but I never worked in, and also worked from a kind of a philharmonic orchestra to an opera orchestra. That was quite a change, also in terms of style and in terms of culture. And like I said, 2017 I entered the Munich Philharmonic, so that was my third orchestra in a row, and I've been very, very happy ever since I joined the Munich Philharmonic, because it's an ensemble that has a lot of tradition and that plays a lot of important concerts at important venues like this Suntory Hall, or sometimes also the Carnegie Hall in New York. We play very often every year in the most important European cities like Paris, Cologne, or Vienna, or Amsterdam and Hamburg. So that has been a very, very good experience for me with this orchestra. So resuming, it has been kind of a journey coming from different countries and different types of orchestras, different styles that I'm very lucky to have until now.
はい、おっしゃる通り、このポルトガル人で生まれて、スイスに勉強して、フランス、スイスの歌劇場、そしてドイツのミュンヘンのフィルハーモニー、もう国際的な超ハイレベルなところで、もういろんなところを短期間で経験しての今っていうところで、改めてこの特に歌劇場のオケとこのフィルハーモニーの違いとか、こういうところって何かあれば教えてください。
Basically, you do a different type of job in the opera house than you do in the symphony orchestra. And for me, playing in the opera was a great experience, but it was also, it meant having to play cimbasso, having to play F tuba and C tuba, and play different composers in the morning and in the afternoon, different instruments in the morning and in the evening. So this was it could be stressful sometimes because it's a lot of services and you need to be fit with all these types of instruments. In the morning you rehearse Traviata on cimbasso, but in the evening you play Wagner opera on the contrabass tuba, and then in the next morning you are playing some ballet from a French composer on the F tuba. So it's very tricky to manage all of this, and it's also amazing to sit on the pit and listen to all the great singers and all the great ballet dancers that come in the opera house, which you don't get to play or to see in the symphony orchestra. And in the symphony orchestra, the biggest difference is that you are on stage, so your playing is put in a much more exposed place, and the repertoire you play is also very different, and the way you rehearse for that repertoire is also very different, because we meet for a project during 3-4 days, and we have a conductor, guest conductor, or a principal conductor, which is conducting the orchestra for that project. So we rehearse and we play the concerts, and we wrap the project, which is something that doesn't happen in the opera house. In the opera house, the projects can spread over weeks and months sometimes. So this was for me the biggest difference. And I must say, I really like the way of working where you play a project and then you go to the next project, or you go on tour with that project, which is what we are doing right now in Japan with the Munich Philharmonic.
そして何よりこのリカルドはそのドイツのミュンヘンフィルっていう伝統的なドイツのオーケストラの中で静管でしかもピストンの楽器を使っているっていうところがもう我々この日本人の印象からするとドイツのオケでそれをするのってすごい稀なことだというふうに思ってて、まずこの認識ってちょっと遅れてたりするんですかね。間違ってないでしょうか。
Most orchestras, most professional orchestras, you will see that their tuba player will be using a rotary valved instrument, either contrabass or bass tuba. Very few orchestras in Germany had previously tuba players who came from different schools and played, and the Munich Philharmonic Orchestra was one of these orchestras. So the tuba player who played before me over 30 years with the Munich Philharmonic was an American. His name was Tom Walsh, and Tom played this type of instrument that I also play, the piston type of instruments, with the Munich Philharmonic for for many decades. So that became very normal within that orchestra. So when I joined the Munich Philharmonic, there was no obligation of having to use the German style of instruments. But if you look in other cities in Germany and other orchestras of Germany, that's still kind of an obligation to use the German style tuba, which I think is appropriate for playing with a German sound, and to play with an orchestra which has a very specific German preference of sound, and to play mostly also German composers, you know. But I think the modern approach that we should be looking for today is that we try to use all types of instruments, and we try to accommodate the repertoire to the best way, with the best instrument that fits to that repertoire. So sometimes if you play a Prokofiev symphony, or if you play a Wagner Ring of the Nibelungen, then the B-flat tuba fits very well for those pieces. But sometimes if you play some Gershwin Rhapsody in Blue or American in Paris, why not also use the C tuba, you know? So in my opinion, it should be open how we see which style of instrument you want to play, and you should use it to accommodate the music the best as possible.
So have you considered playing a B-flat tuba?
Every day, yeah. Every day I consider. I love the concept of the big German B-flat tuba, the sound concept, and I have many colleagues around me who play this tuba to a very high level. But also, you know, in Germany and outside of Germany, you start to see other tuba players playing the big style B-flat, and it's something that I look forward to, and I start to work on with my students, because I recommend students to play the instrument that they feel more close to. So they don't need to play a certain type of instrument, they should play the instrument that they like to play, and the instrument that they feel it will be more approachable for their future in a certain country. So if they pretend to go work in Germany, then I try to work with them to play the B-flat tuba. So I have many students who chose to play B-flat tuba, some students who chose to play the C piston tuba. So with those, I'm already working a lot intensively on the B-flat tuba myself.
Do you have a B-flat tuba?
I don't own one,
I don't.
but we use we have two B-flat tubas in the school where I teach. I'm teaching in the Geneva University of Music in Switzerland. So we have there two big traditional B-flat tubas, which the students use and I use as well. Play with the students.
はい、先ほどそのジュネーブでも教鞭をとっているというふうに伺いました。改めてそこでのこの教えるときに大切にしていること、またこのご自身の演奏へのモットーなどありましたら、ぜひ教えてください。
I think the most important of our instrument is the sound. My motto to play the instrument is to have the best sound that you can. So the sound is heavily related with your control of your breathing. So that's also the better you breathe, the better you sound. So this is for me the way to go to play the tuba. Thinking too much, overthinking with our instrument is not always a good idea. So I try to, when I teach, to simplify, to make it very practical and simple for the students and also for myself to play the instrument. The more you think, the more difficult the instrument sometimes gets. So it's something, my philosophy about thinking is not to overthink when you play the tuba. And work on your basics a lot. That's what I try to do with my students. I have been teaching for 4 years now in universities. I started in Germany, in Weimar, a city in Thuringia, which is the school. It's a very famous school where Walter Hilgers used to teach. And I was there 2 years, and now I started teaching in Switzerland, in Geneva, where I'm responsible for the tuba class. I have a studio with very different type of students. Everybody's quite different, and sometimes to make somebody progress, you need to use a different approach with two different people. This is also what I like to do with myself, to think first without the instrument, and then when you pick the instrument, the thinking part must be already kind of automatic. So you just focus on your air, you focus on your sound, of course your tuning, your rhythm, and these things that you need to improve every day, to play in the orchestra, to play in the ensembles, in the chamber music. So that's my philosophy.
Simple is the best.
Yeah, the simple is always the best. I think I believe in that. Yeah.
はい、そしてこれで日本でもいろいろレッスンとかもこれまでされたことだと思いますし、これからもされていくと思うんですけど、改めてこのチャンネル、やっぱりいろんなチューバをこう吹いているチューバ学習者の方々がこう見てると思うんですけど、ちょっとそういう方々にまたメッセージをいただけたら。
I think that you should be passionate about what you do. If you really like to play the tuba, do it with passion. You know, do it for fun, and try to listen to lots of music and get influences from not only from the same source but from different sources. Check what's your type of sound, your sound concept. Try to improve your sound concept in your imagination, so that when you pick the instrument you can put it in practice. And for that you should listen to different great tuba players that you like, and that you say, this is the sound I like, I want to try and copy that sound. You know, Gene Pocorni in Chicago, or Sergio Carolino in Portugal, or you know, maybe Michael Lind was one of my first big influences. It's unfortunately not with us anymore, but I really like his solo CDs. When I started to play the tuba, so that motivated me a lot. Or then when I started to listen to the orchestra, I really liked Warendek and Gene Pocorni, and then the soloists. I had the chance to study with Sergio directly, but also with Daniela, and then have master classes with Roger Bobo or with Oystein Botsvik. You know, the most important, I think, is that you have a passion, and that you try to go for it. If you believe that you can become a tuba player, then really try to do everything for accomplishing that dream of yours. And if that means sometimes that you cannot go out with your friends one night because you need to practice, then that means that. Or if it means you need to save money to go and do a master class in the summer, practicing is important, and we should practice hard, but when you have time to relax, then relax a little bit. Relax a bit while you practice as well. So don't practice 10 hours without stop. Make small breaks when you practice. That's something very important, I think, for the young students, because sometimes they get very excited and they want to practice a lot. If you practice long and bad, you are creating bad habits. And if you practice short and good, that might be better for you. Or in short amounts with breaks, that might be very, very good for you.
ありがとうございました。こうやってまた久しぶりに会ってやってて思い出しましたけど、僕はスイスに渡ってもう初日に一番最初に会った向こうの生徒が彼で、一緒に練習してこんなにすごいのかと、海外留学ってこんな面白いのかって思ったのが、もうやっぱり彼と初めて会って一緒に練習したあの日だったなって、思って、正直日本ではまだまだこれから知られていくプレイヤーかなというふうに思いますが、めちゃくちゃうまいので、講演であったりとかレッスンとかっていう機会があ かったら、はい、ぜひ、チェックしてみてほしいなというふうに思います。Let's finish.
Yeah.
I just remind many good memory in Zurich.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was really fantastic class and
Yeah.
it's a really nice part of my life.
Yeah,
Yeah,
of mine too.
yeah.
It was we were a small class back then, but it was a very intense time, and we did practice a lot, and we of course did party also a little bit. But in the end, it's nice to look back to those years and see how good they were for us, and how we are here today.
Yeah.
And remember the old friends, of course, the teacher.
It's very nice to see you again.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much.